Alrighty, we're going to go ahead and get started here. It's October 20th. It's a Friday, last day of the trading week. I made $170 on the day from 3 trades. 2 trades on WHLR for $196, and 1 trade on LIPO where I lost $26. Now, before I go ahead and actually jump in, I just want to go over and switch to the prep. Real quickly, give a overview of what I saw pre-market. Again, not too much movement. It was the same thing yesterday. It wasn't quite as bad as yesterday, but the gappers were still kind of moving slow from what I could tell. One possibility of why this was the SPY has been kind of selling off lately. If I could just go ahead and switch here. And it's been like this for actually the last 2 days, right? So we've been just kind of in a downtrend. So it could be partially because of that. Typically when we're in a bear market, small caps don't perform as well. I know it's just 2 days. It's not like a bear market or anything, but this pullback could be why there hasn't been as much activity. It's at least something to keep in mind. A couple other things. So biotech was kind of non-existent yesterday, but I did see a lot of biotech gapping up. So biotech seems to have come back a tiny bit. Whether or not this is just like a small resurgence or if it actually comes back, we'll have to wait and see next week. But I was seeing some biotech stocks show up. A lot of the stocks that were showing up were also much lower priced. And that's mostly just due to the lack of volatility. Not seeing quite as many big moves, so naturally they're going to be a lot lower priced. But yeah, that basically wraps up the prep. Nothing too crazy, but still want to at least show it, put it out there. So first trade I took, LIPO, my loser for the day. This one, I think the shares outstanding is relevant here, so I'll go ahead and bring it up. It was 5.8 million, which is somewhat slow. I actually am a bit curious why this didn't move as much as it did. Whether it goes up or down, fine, but for the amount of volume this stock was getting, it's kind of strange to me how this traded so sideways, right? Because on the 1 minute, right, you're having a lot of candles where you're having almost 1/5 of the outstanding shares being traded, and the price just kind of bounced back and forth. Let me check the yearly. Yeah, yearly also been kind of just trading sideways for the most part. Very strange. I want to see how this stock performs going forward, because this is not price action that I'm used to seeing with this kind of outstanding shares. This doesn't seem natural to me. It almost feels like a massive amount of consolidation, but we'll see. I would be curious to see if this ends up actually moving up and this is actually just the start of a bigger move. But yeah, we'll see. Anyway, I'm getting off track. To the actual trade here. I marked out pre-market this level. It's a pretty clear one. Whenever the price pulled back to here, it showed a bounce and we had a recovery. So naturally, when we get approaching to that level, I want to see how price reacts around that level. And we did see on our scanners here, I saw that we had a little bit of a reaction. Whenever the price was selling off at around 215-ish price, the price actually had a massive amount of buyers popping in. I waited for it to tick up a little bit just to get confirmation. I did get that, so I went ahead and went long at 220. My target was either 228 or 229. I can't remember. I held it for 2 minutes, giving it a little bit of time. But when I noticed that the volume was dying off again, and I was kind of looking back at this price action, it really wasn't something I was familiar with. Normally with this kind of volume, this price action doesn't really make sense. So after giving it 2 minutes, I felt a little uncomfortable. Like I didn't quite understand the situation, so I thought it was best just to cut the trade, even though I was slightly red on it. Just get out if you're not really comfortable, or you feel like you're in an environment that you don't quite understand. But yeah, I don't regret getting out. I wouldn't have had my price target get hit anyway. The high here was 225, so even if I did hold to like 228 or 229, I wouldn't have got it here. Would I have gotten it here? I wouldn't have even gotten it here, so. And, I mean, yeah, I could have gotten it, but I would have held for like 2 hours or something. And, yeah, this is completely against the point of my strategy at that point. So yeah, no regrets on this trade. My only maybe red flag was that I should have noticed before I got in that the volume didn't quite make sense relative to what the price action was doing. I wouldn't say that was a big enough red flag for me not to take the trade, but maybe that's something I didn't recognize it going into the trade, and maybe that's something I should have recognized to give me like a better picture of what was going on. All right, so next trade here, WHLR. This was probably one of the better trades I've seen for quite a while. I would definitely give this first trade an A+ quality setup. Everything I was looking for was showing up. The level 2 was very strong. It was going to the level that I was looking at buying at. Volume was increasing around this time, right around here. So I was seeing everything I was looking for. I went in with normal size. I did double size because the price was lower. Same with the last stock. I did double size on that one too. And normally I don't add. Usually the only time I will add to a position is if I feel exceptionally confident in the move. And so yeah, I did add here. I thought about adding another 1,600, but in the moment I was just like, let's just add a little bit. We'll add half. So I added half of what I was initially buying, so 2,400 in. My price target was somewhere between 150 and 160. I mostly wanted to see how price reacted there before I made my decision. And yeah, I ended up seeing the break of 155, but then when it was pulling back to 150 with a lot of selling pressure, I was a bit worried 150 was going to break down. So I ended up marketing out, and I missed out on quite a good bit of the move. You could argue that because I felt so confident, and I did feel confident in this setup, like I was confident enough to add, so I was pretty confident. You could argue that maybe I should have left a runner, because this did end up running up to 169. So I did miss out on about 20 cents or so. My backtesting generally shows that when I hold any kind of recovery bounce like this, it tends not to work, like if you're holding for a bigger move. But something maybe worth looking into or backtesting is how I feel on setups like this where I'm exceptionally confident. Because maybe there's something to this. It could be a coincidence that the setup I was more confident on ended up doing a much, much bigger move. It could just be coincidence, actual coincidence, but it's something maybe worth investigating. So I made note of that, and I'm going to look into this a bit more. But still, either way, very great trade. I made like $200 on this move. And let's go on to the third trade here, because this was, I don't really want to talk about it, but I think it's important I do. So we had this first pull up here, and I wish I could go to a lower time frame. I think you can do it on TD Ameritrade, but I'm not sure. So I'll just have to do it by the minutes. But we had this move up. I was seeing how much I missed out on and feeling a bit of FOMO, a bit of regret. And when we had this pullback, I was like, okay, it's over. And then I see it return. It basically surges on even more volume back up to this high. And I was feeling a bit of a cave on FOMO. I saw this seller on the level 2 down here. There was a 70,000 share seller on this level. And I was watching it get hit again and again and again. It went from 70,000, 50,000, 30,000, 10,000, 5, 4, 3. And in my mind, like I'm starting to have FOMO take over, right? And I see on the level 2 that it's starting to break. So I say to myself, this isn't what I should be trading, but I'll size down to half, right? I'll size down to 800 and take it. So I jump in, and then the price doesn't move right away. It's like a second goes by, 2 seconds, 3 seconds go by. This person that was on the ask was gone, but the price wasn't moving. And then I like snapped back, and I'm like, wait a minute, what am I doing? This is not my setup. I'm impulsively almost jumping into this. So I marketed it out. I lost like $2. But really, this was me just kind of caving into FOMO. And I thought about it for like another 2 or 3 minutes, and I decided, okay, I got a little bit too excited from this trade, and then I was having FOMO take over as it was starting to run up, so I'm just going to walk away. And that's what I ultimately ended up doing. I don't regret it at all, walking away. I think it was totally the right thing to do. I was clearly getting a little bit out of touch. I thought about coming back for power hour before market close. I didn't end up doing it. I kind of just wanted to be done and green on the day. But yeah, no regrets overall. Only real regret was giving in to the impulse to FOMO trade and just jump in here when I really had no business doing it. But yeah, that basically wraps up my analysis for the day. I hope you got something out of it. If you're new to trading, or if you're someone who's still trying to reach that profitability threshold, I've been trading in a live account for about 7 months now. I've been profitable every month. So if you're trying to observe someone or maybe pick up on tips or little tidbits, like with what happened today with some of these trades I took, then I would highly encourage you to subscribe. If you change your mind, you can always unsubscribe, but I think you can get a lot of value out of these kind of examples that I put forward. But in any case, I hope you guys have a good rest of your weekend and trade safely.